Most people don't set up their goals in life because they have a fear of loss, a fear of failure. I'm too young. I'm too ugly. I'm too stupid. Just ask one of my friends. Today when you leave here, you're going to feel something good about you. If you say so, if that's what you believe. Don't say we, because you're not responsible for the person next to you. It's me. And when you say me and take responsibility for it, all of a sudden things can change. There's a wild clown comes along and says, Mama, you can go anywhere you want to go. You can be anything you want to be. You can do anything you want to do. Mama, I know you want me. Maybe I'm having a bad hair day. He was 72 years old and he had stretched a small cable across a small portion of the Grand Canyon. He stood there, he picked up his little old wheelbarrow and he took a step out. As he did, people started to stop like, what is this little old man doing? This is the Grand Canyon. Now, I don't know if you've ever been to the Grand Canyon, but wherever you go along the Grand Canyon, you take a look down there, it's a long way down yonder, you're going to get hurt. 72 years old. He picks up his wheelbarrow. He takes a step. He gets about halfway out when suddenly he loses his balance. The whole crowd that had gathered was going, He regains his composure. He backs off the cable with his little wheelbarrow. He wipes his brow and he looks around. The crowd's now huge. He picks up his wheelbarrow and he starts to take a step when a little boy who was at the very back squeezed to the front. He had the eyes of silver dollars. He was standing there next to the little old man. The little old man said, boy, do you believe I can walk across this here portion of the Grand Canyon and live? He says, son, maybe you don't understand. I'm going to walk across this portion of the Grand Canyon with this wheelbarrow. Do you believe that I can go across this portion of the Grand Canyon and come back unscathed? Little boy went, he says, honey, I want to know if you believe it. He goes, yes, sir. He says, son, do you believe that I can do this with my wheelbarrow across this portion of the Grand Canyon? He says, yes, sir, I believe it. He says, do you really believe it, boy? He said, yes, sir, I really believe it. He said, get in the wheelbarrow, son. Question is, what do you believe, really? I guess we have a hard time getting motivated in the United States of America today. There was a rich West Texas rancher. Now, this boy had all the money. He had the cattle on 1,000 hills. He had the oil wells that went on those 1,000 hills. And though he thought he was pretty powerful, he had himself a problem. He had himself an 18-year-old daughter. So he had every young man knocking at his door, wanting his hand, the hand of his daughter. He said, well, I got to do something. I got to think of something. So he said, I don't want her just to marry anybody. So he invites all the affluent young men around his Olympic-sized swimming pool that he had the foresight to fill with water moccasins and alligators. He said, fellas, let me have your attention, please. For the first one of you who's able to swim the length of this pool and live, I will give you one of three things. He said, I will give you $1 million cash, or I will give you 100 acres of my best and most prime property, or I will give you my lovely daughter's hand in matrimony, and she is my only heir. No sooner than the words was out of his mouth was a quick splash on one side of the pool and a quick emergence on the other, and he ran up to the young man and he said, young man, do you want the $1 million cash? He said, no, sir. He said, do you want the 100 acres of my best and most prime property? He said, no, sir. He says, son, I must assume then you want my lovely daughter's hand in matrimony. He said, no, sir. He said, boy, what do you want? He said, I want to know the name of the dude who pushed me in the pool. He's motivated by fear of loss. Most people don't set up their goals in life because they have a fear of loss, a fear of failure. I'm too young. I'm too ugly. I'm too stupid. Just ask one of my friends. When I was a little boy, I read one book that taught me to believe that I could do anything I wanted to do. I was 5, I was in kindergarten, and after that, I would never, ever hear, through grammar school, through junior high, through high school, I would never hear again, you can fly. Because after that, I'd meet people who would always tell me, unless you get good grades in school, you'll never amount to anything. What was the one book that we read that taught us to believe we could do anything we wanted to do, to go anywhere we wanted to go, to be anything we wanted to be? What was the book? The Little Engine That Could. And what did he say? I think I can, I think I can, I think I can. I want you to pretend that you're the little train that thought it could. This morning, you're a steam engine. I want you to pretend that steam engine is your faith, your goal, your belief, and or your dream. Now I want to ask you, where can your faith, your dream, your belief, your goal, where can that take you all by itself? Where can a steam engine take you all by itself? Where can a steam engine go by itself? I'm telling you this morning. Your goal, your dream, your belief can take you nowhere. All by itself, it goes nowhere. But if you ask me about my goal, if you ask me about my dream, if you ask me about my belief, and I bet you if I asked you, I bet you can get excited about it. I bet you could tell me someday you're going to write the book. Someday you're going to climb a mountain. Someday you're going to be a star. Someday, maybe tomorrow. And tomorrow is too often a repetition of the mediocrity of today. I will to when? When am I ever going to do the things I say I'm going to do? When I grow up? Clue. We never grow up. Don't let your teachers fool you. Mom and Dad are only kidding. The caboose. The feel-good car. Feelings, nothing more than I won't do that again, all right. Emotions. So when you talk about your dreams, or your faith, or your goals, or your beliefs, you can get really emotional about it. But what do you get when you take a steam engine and a caboose? Where do they go? Still a train going nowhere. 90% of what goes into your mind is of a negative nature. What do you feed your mind, nation of tomorrow? Do you know a group called AC/DC? Yeah. Oh yeah. No, notice you all said yeah to that because that's one of the most positive influence groups I know. You know, stuff like, I'm on the highway to hell. It's 7 o'clock. I'm in my room getting ready for school, and I'm on the highway to hell. Yeah. Now, your parents aren't going to admit this to you, but they used to be rockers too. But since they can't understand the lyrics and they don't want to sound like their parents, they've now gone country. It sounds something like this. You were the first thing that I thought of when I thought I'd drink you off my mind. Oh, it's 7 o'clock in the morning, your parents are drinking already. You know. And you know what you get when you play country music backwards? You get your dog back, your truck back, your wife back. Okay, all right. So I've passed over a group of you out there who are rebels. Kill a cow, kill a cow, kill a cow, kill a cow. So, you've gone alternative. Not sure what that means, but okay. What if God was one of us? Just a slug like one of us. Children, do not try this at home, okay? The point I'm making here is, what do you feed your mind? If you don't think we're influenced by television, if you don't think we're influenced by the radio and by lyrics, we are. Why do you remember the words, I think I can, I think I can, I think I can? If Einstein's theory is true, it takes 11 positives to overcome 1 negative in a child. How much more so, and you can't teach an old dog, kind of people. At 5 years old, you've decided. Well, you're telling us it's too late, Rob? No, I'm telling you can still fly. I think I can, I think I can. 90% of what goes into your mind on a daily basis is of a negative nature. 90% of what goes into your mind on a daily basis is of a negative nature. 77% of all self-talk that adults, children, high school students do with each other, 77% of all self-talk is of a negative nature. Clueless phone, it's for me. Take a listen to this. 77% of all disease is psychosomatic, or sickness is coming from emotional disorders. See, we actually believe that success, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, physically, and financially, is for the other guy. Did you know that people find fault with other things and other people so they can justify their miserable existence? What do you believe, really? Well, today you walk out of your little trains, And today you walk out of here, if you didn't walk in here believing that you could, you're walking out of here believing that you can. I think I can, I think I can, I think I can. And that's where you have to get into the wheelbarrow of what you say you believe. Does everybody believe that they can? When you believe it in the wheelbarrow, whatever that is, you're ahead of the game. You say, gosh, Rob, that's just positive thinking. No, positive thinking, ladies and gentlemen, won't get you anything, but it'll get you a lot more than negative thinking will. Alrighty then. Today without a goal is going to be partially wasted. You cannot hit a target you cannot see, let alone one you really don't have. 80% of college graduates, word for someone who never graduated from high school. 85% of the college graduates who come out of college today never go on to their field of study. Why? Party, party. How do you hit a goal? First, you got to have one. First, you have to have one. Emotionally, mentally, spiritually, physically, and financially, you have to have a target. Let's say that I want to lose 30 pounds in 90 days. If I do that, I'm in trouble. But if I did, if I want to lose 30 pounds in 90 days, the average American, the average adult American today would gain 10. Why? Because they're going, I'm going to have to give something up, so let's have an extra donut now. And besides, why put off things till tomorrow when you can put them off till the next day? Procrastination is the assassination of motivation. Stay with me, students in the back. I'm coming back there. What you gonna do? I don't know. To tell you the truth, I can't remember whether it was 5 or 6, so tell me, do you feel lucky? Well, do ya? Okay. I want to lose 30 pounds in 90 days. Odds are 90 days are going to go by and I won't have started. But let's break it down. How many months in 90 days? I got 3 months in 90 days. Some of you will actually graduate who knew the answer. So how many pounds? 10. Very good. There's 10 pounds in each month. Hey, wait a minute. Think about it. The goal is getting better already. Well, how many weeks would I call strongs? Because I don't like to have a week. I don't like to have a weekend. I have strongs and strong ends. People laugh at me all around the planet. I laugh all the way to the bank. Now, there are 4 weeks, strongs, on an average in every month. So how many pounds in a week? 2.5, 2.5. Okay, wait a minute. This is getting easier already. 2.5. I only have to focus on the goal for 2.5 this week. No, I don't even have to focus on that. There are how many days in a week? 7. Okay, so there are 16 ounces in a pound. So if I got 2.5, that's 32 and 8, give me 40 ounces in a week, correct? So let's divide it by 7. 7 goes into 40 how many times? It's about 6. 6 ounces. For the average 40-year-old man, if he changed his water intake to 4 to 6 quarts a day and cut out his saturated fats, the average 40-year-old man could lose 6 ounces a day. Now, think about it. Do you have tomorrow? Do we have a promise of tomorrow? So, this is a gift. I only have to focus on my 6 ounces, don't I? Because if I focus on my 6 ounces today, what would happen in 90? Ladies and gentlemen, young people, that's how you make a goal. Any goal. You only have right now. You only have this breath. You can only make a decision for now. If you want to hit your target of tomorrow, if God blesses you with the tomorrow, because yesterday's gone, tomorrow isn't here. I met a kid the other day. He goes, hey, Mr. Bray, you don't get it, man. I'm like, I hope tomorrow's better because yesterday sucked. He's lost his today. So because of it, what's called established precedence. What would established precedence mean? How about a word habit? If yesterday sucked, and I hope tomorrow's better, it's a habit, yes? I want you to pick one thing in your mind that you'd like to be excellent at. Maybe it is losing 30 pounds. Maybe it's getting a stronger body and being able to lift. Maybe it's getting on the football team next year. Maybe it's the girl sitting next to you. Maybe it's a better relationship with your folks, a better relationship with your teacher, better grades in school. Whatever it is, I want you to pick one thing you would like to better in your life, not leaving it up to Anybody else? Not your mom, not your dad, not your teacher, not the president, but you. Pick one thing you'd like to better in your life. Emotionally, mentally, spiritually, physically, and or financially. Selling drugs is not an option. Pick one thing. How many of you in this, maybe that's giving up smoking and you've just started, I don't know what it is, but pick one thing you'd like to change. Now, all of you in this room, by a show of hands, how many of you got something in your life you'd like to make better or change? Let's see your hands. Okay, truthful people. Okay? And for those of you who didn't raise your hands and have it all together, would you please stand up, because I'd like to see what somebody in denial really looks like. Okay, now we know what it looks like. When a man says he wants to change something in his life, it's like going to a garden and taking a sickle to a weed, because we raised our hand. That's what it's like. We're saying there's something we want to do. That's emotional. So what we do is we take the sickle to the weed, and what happens? You're right, it grows back stronger, it grows back tougher, and it gets harder to cut down, and people quit believing. Because see, in a garden, where there used to be flowers planted in your garden when you were little, these flowers used to say things like this, and I hope they don't make you giggle. I hope you'll listen with your heart and your head, because when your success in life, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, physically, or financially, is not compared to how somebody does next to you, it's compared to how you could have done. So you better be listening for you. You better have decided, I'm here for one reason. I'm going to walk away with getting something good out of this. It's not important what this man says. It's important what I think about what he says. When you cut a weed down in a garden, and the garden used to have flowers that said things like this: love, compassion, kindness, mercy, high goals, high morals. All those things were once in your garden. When a weed is in the garden and is cut down at the surface of change, what's going on underneath the ground? The weed's still growing. It's underground. What's that called? The roots. What will that do to a garden full of beautiful flowers? It'll choke them out, won't it? People, young people all across this nation are being choked out because of weeds in the garden. Now let's look at the weed. Let's look at the roots. We're going to call those habits. And adults have them too. And we're the worst, because we'll tell you what to do, but not do it ourselves. Don't do as I say, do as I do. Have you heard it? No, that's not how they say it. How do we say it? Do as I say, not as I do. There's an oxymoron in there, because people are as good as their leadership, which is no excuse for me or you for what we choose to be. Habits. So drinking, drugs, cursing, swearing, lying, cheating, stealing. I confess, okay, I give up. How do people form those habits? Wait a second, now that's cool. You all knew the answer. We say peer pressure. Psychologists say peer pressure. I say to you this: peer pressure can't affect you, little choo-choo. I know what I'm talking about, mama, okay? It can affect you if you have a healthy, positive self-image. The stem root that causes a man or a woman to do the bad habits that they have, whether that's lying, cheating, cursing, womanizing, whatever it may be, there's something that's called a stem root. And you know what that stem root's called? Poor self-image. Because if I felt good about myself, I mean genuinely, I'm not talking about my ego, but if I felt good about myself, why would I ever smoke? Why would I ever drink? Why would I ever lie? Or curse, or swear, or find fault with other things and other people? Don't say we, because you're not responsible for the person next to you. It's me. And when you say me and take responsibility for it, all of a sudden things can change. I think I can, I think I can, I think I can. I want to challenge you. Are you up for a challenge? Men? Ladies, are you ready for a challenge? Then tonight I want you to take 15 minutes, and I want you to reflect on the train that thought it could. Now I'm going to give you one word that crushes the hopes and dreams of all mankind. How? Oh, the formula tonight, in your 15 minutes, when you write down what you want to change? The formula is this: 6 ounces a day, 15 minutes tonight. The men and women in this room of their word are going to sit down and write what they want to change. And then they're going to write one little word called how next to it. And then they're going to write 6OZ, because that will spur or prompt their memory to the story I told about the 30 pounds that need to be lost in 90 days. That broke down into 3 months, 10 pounds each month, 4 weeks, strongs, and every month at 2.5 pounds each strong or weak, whichever one you are, strong or weak. A strong man keeps his word. A weak one just walks out of here and finds fault with other things and other people. And then you're going to remember it breaks down into 6 ounces a day. You cannot hit a target you cannot see, let alone one you don't really have. Who's going to have the courage to do the 15 minutes tonight? Let me see your hands. Well, you're going to need courage. I know of a little boy who was 4 years old and his sister who was 7. They were both diagnosed with a deadly disease. They were both coming home from the hospital. They barely could move, and the doctor had said to them, "Your children will not see Christmas." The mommy and daddy carried their children in, tucked them into bed. They went into their bedroom, fell down on their knees, and began to pray to a God they did not know. They fell asleep on the floor weeping. Their children were going to die. There was nothing that medicine could do. At 4:30 in the morning, they were awakened to a little boy going, "Rrr." Mom and Dad get up and they rub their eyes and they walk around the corner, look in their little boy's room, and he's playing with a fire engine. The day before he was weak, he was pale, yellow in the eyes, and could not move. Now suddenly he's got all this color, he's got all this playfulness, and he's got all this energy. What happened? A miracle? I don't know, you do the math. They got all excited. So they ran to the next room, they looked in the room, they looked for their little girl thinking maybe this happened to her, but no, she was in worse condition. They gathered up their little boy, ran to the hospital. When they got to the hospital, the doctor came in and said, I don't know what's happening. He called in all the doctors. They ran all these tests. They couldn't believe what they were seeing. They came up with an idea. They looked at the parents and they told the parents a procedure that might work, that might save their daughter. They told the little boy, and I want you to remember this. Remember this at the end of the story. The little boy, when he was told the procedure, he's 4. They looked at the little boy, and they said, "What do you think, honey?" He said, "Okay, if I'll help my sister." 3 days later, they begin the procedure. This little boy knows this procedure's coming for these 3 days. And the doctors watch his blood flow from his body to his sister, and like a cartoon, his sister's eyes changed color. Her body changed color. Everybody was sitting there watching what was happening because they couldn't believe it, because they were seeing this physical manifestation of it, and they're like, "Whoa!" And all of a sudden, an alarm goes off, and they said, "Beep." They weren't paying attention to the 4-year-old. The doctor dropped to his knees, and the little boy said these words, Will it hurt when I die?" He didn't die. A blood transfusion is dangerous at best, especially with a small child. But both of them are well today. Because one little boy had the courage to say, "Okay, if it'll help my sister." What did he think? For 3 days, what did that little boy think? He thought he was going to die. What a great thing, students, to be alive. No matter what you've suffered in life, it's a great thing to be alive. And you can choose to let an old habit in your mind die with courage. Mama, you can go anywhere you want to go. You can be anything you want to be. You can do anything you want to do.
Mama, what do they call that? Spontaneous human combustion? Hope I didn't mess up my hair. Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. But I can only do that once. Who turned out the lights? Listen to them. I know they want me.
I can do this all over the country. I have one prayer. Heavenly Father, please give me the words today that will act like a key, that will unlock somebody's way of thinking, that they can take on a new idea, a new way of thinking, a new belief. And I want to remind you that when you leave here today, that you, young person, hold the key to someone. Thank you for having me. I'm Robbie Bray.